Hey guys, what's up? It's Cly here. What the fuck is the day today? It is June 4th and 2021. I'm pleased to announce that Hive.Loans is up and running. It's not quite been opened up to the public yet. Uh, this morning, when I was getting it all online and getting ready for the public beta testing to start here right away, I had a couple technical issues that I hadn't foreseen when I was developing on my Windows box, which appeared on my Linux web server. So I've slowly but surely this morning got things to the point where they're almost working somewhat nicely on the web server. So if you head over to Hive.Loans, you'll be met with the page and whatnot. There's been a little bit of changes to it since the last version was up. So what I'm going to be doing here is, first off, the people who bought the HL shares, they're going to be getting codes here within the next day, hours, week, and they're going to be getting priority to come in and start beta testing. It's going to be very limited off the start. It's going to be small amounts. Please use testing accounts because there might be stuff that I have failed to test properly, or we might encounter some errors. So don't bet the farm quite yet on the loan stuff, and I will be limiting the amount that any account can have loaned out or invested or anything like that off the get-go. We're just going to keep stuff small, keep stuff simple, and hopefully things go well. But I will be getting you guys some, yeah, I'll basically be getting you guys some access tokens, not tokens, some access codes, some all access beta passes. And that'll be going to the HL share buyers there from that first early bird round. And then I'll slowly, as we get more comfortable with things and we're not breaking things too terribly, I'll start letting the more of the public in. And once, I figure we'll probably do a month or so of testing if things go well. And then at the end of that month, then I should have a release candidate that's ready to open up the floodgates, and we'll be going for tons of volume at that point in time. I think this service is going to be quite well received. That's the hope, and it's not perfect right now. I don't have the mobile support done. I completely crapped the bed on that one. So my apologies to the mobile users. You're not supported right now at all. I have to look into some more stuff in order to make that work. And I'm not sure exactly what the site's going to render like on smaller monitors, because I run a quite large screen. So with that being said, if you guys are running into technical difficulties when you get into it, when I get you some codes, or if you're getting weird displays, just screenshot them, let me know. I've got a link up in the top of the site, and it's a bugs link. And what that does is that actually takes you to the GitHub repository for the entire Hive.Loans service. And if you guys can do your bug reporting there, that helps me out a huge bunch, because then I can keep track of what people are reporting. We can see if there's duplicates, and I can address things one at a time and make sure things get fixed. Because that's going to be, this next month here is going to be testing stuff at a low volume, at a low ability to do things. And once we're sure everything's right, then we're just going to keep ramping stuff up and ramping stuff up. And eventually here, hopefully by month's end, we'll be good to do a complete full launch. But yeah, the Hive.Loans beta is live now, and I'll be starting to contact you guys, the HL shareholders, within the next hours to days to weeks here to get you guys involved. It's going to be bring on a couple of guys at a time, see what they think about it, see if they've got any quarrels, and then if they're good, then we'll bring on some more people and see where things break, where things aren't designed as well as they could be, what could be used to streamline the site. There's still a bunch of work that needs to be done. This is like, I wouldn't say it's alpha testing, because it's far further than an alpha. It's past the proof of concept point, but it's not completely done yet. There's still some functions that I do need to work dearly on and make sure that they're right before we open the floodgates on this. So thank you for the patience. I realize that I'm, oh God, a month and some late compared to where I thought I was going to be. Things didn't work out exactly how I hoped with my development on it, but it's here. It's online. I'm getting things up. I'm putting the systems in place that need to be in place to get this thing to run properly. It's sitting there. It's running. We're going to have people coming in from the HL shareholder community probably by the end of the day. And I'm excited. It's a really exciting time for myself as the developer of this, and also for the Hive community, because we're sitting at the doorstep, and the door is cracked open a little bit, and we get to peer inside what the Hive might look like here in the next few months once this thing takes off, and all of a sudden we've got all this liquidity that we're able to share and make profit on, and be able to use this liquidity to take markets on when we have pumps, or if we need to get in and out of positions quickly. This is going to help a lot of people. And with the Hive.Loans service, it's set up in a way that you can go and you can say, hey, I'm offering this. But then on the flip side, if you're a borrower, you can also be like, hey, I need this loan. You can make a loan posting, and then you can have somebody with capital come in and fill it for you. So it's kind of the two ways. You can say, hey, I've got money to borrow, here's my rate. Or you can go, hey, I need to borrow money, here's the rate that I'm willing to pay. And then you guys can link up with each other on the site. And you don't even have to know who it is technically. I'm probably going to keep it semi-anonymous for now, like just so people aren't picking and choosing who they're loaning to. Eventually, I'll probably implement a function where you can see more of what's going on behind the scenes, more access to the database. There's 3 or 4 APIs that are implemented right now on the site that have started doing the price data and whatnot, and it's started to aggregate. And the hope and goal here is, the way I built my Hive price API is we'll be able to go back and by the block, you'll be able to literally type in a block number and it'll tell you what the price was on the market as a whole, and what the site was using, what BTC prices were, what the the Hive back dollar prices are. And it's just going to give us more access to keeping track of this stuff longer term, and a huge chunk of the site's code is scanning the blockchain and just looking for things that would be pertinent to the operation of this system. And I'm quite excited, honestly, because like, yeah, I'm a one-man development crew effectively, but what I'm offering here, what I've started to offer, is essentially a huge upgrade in what effectively is quality of life of Hive users. We don't have to worry about being powered up anymore. We should encourage people to power up more, because you're no longer stuck in your power up. At any point in time, you can decide, hey, you know what, I need a loan, I need to take out 50% or 70% or whatever of the Hive that I've been whittling away here in my Hive power. And that's the whole point of this site. This site is unlocking that capital that you've put away. Everybody's making a little bit of money. The guy who's born is making a little bit of money. I'm making a little bit of money on commissions, and you're getting a little liquidity right up there. So if you've got 100,000 Hive sitting in your Hive account, you can pull 70,000 Hive if somebody's willing to loan it to you. In the current state it's in, I've got a one-to-one loaning system. I'm going to quickly switch that here, probably within the next month or two. Once I'm comfortable that things are running properly with the one-to-one, then we'll be able to have multiple people fulfilling a single loan, or vice versa, have multiple people loaning to one person, or flip around. Basically, your imagination, you can do whatever you want. One other thing to note is that the recovery account of your Hive account is going to be very important. The site is only going to have a couple partners off the get-go, and I still need to get things set up with them to make sure that they're checking and they're not recovering accounts that are currently loaning. But another part of the API is there's a list, a real-time list of anybody who is currently lending that the site aggregates. So with that being said, if you have a recovery account, let's just say B&On or Block Trades, or the Hive.Loans site, or myself, any of these whitelisted accounts, as long as they're your recovery account for over the past 30 days, then we've got no issues, because these guys aren't going to recover accounts and then bugger up the whole process. The beauty of this thing is that effectively it's riskless for the borrower, for the lender, and the only kind of sketchy part is me taking the keys and then giving you access to that account through new keys. So effectively, Hive.Loans or myself is the owner of the account while you are borrowing. The second it's paid back, you get all of your keys back. And server side, everything is encrypted. Every account gets its own PGP keys and AES keys, And it's like you've got double and triple encryption in a lot of these places. When I'm sending data to and from, I've got the HTTPS, I've got TLS, and I've got encryption on top of that. So you're looking at, again, 3 levels of encryption. My hope and my goal is to be able to move this data around securely, store it securely, and even in the case of a breach, somebody getting into my servers with the off chance that ever would happen, which is highly, highly unlikely, they won't even be able to access. Nobody's going to be able to see your passwords. Nothing's going to be in plain text for them to bugger around with or anything like that. Even if you get into the database, you might see some balances, but you're not going to be able to pull people's keys from it. Like, even if the site's hacked, there's no way, by design, there's no way that you're going to be losing accounts that way. It's just, when you're dealing with people's funding and accounts and whatnot, like, it's a huge responsibility to do this right. And one of the biggest kind of concerns that I've heard in the community is that, oh man, you're taking people's keys, that's bad, it's centralized. Yes, there's a part of me that completely agrees with that. However, there's also another part of me that this is kind of a first step. This is the roadblocks to me eventually being able to build the fully decentralized, completely trustless version on the Hive sidechain, which will be kind of the next thing that I really, really focus on here once we've got Hive.Loans going and it's starting to make money and it's going through and it's running smoothly. I'm swamped right now. I have far too many ideas, far too many projects, and just not enough of me to go around to keep everything kind of floating. My Hive roller's been kind of backburnered, and I apologize to the patrons there because, again, I should have fixed that a month or 2 ago. I've been so focused on Hive.Loans. It's just, it's been hectic, and it is stressful, especially when you're going into a beta and you're effectively bringing never before seen functionality anywhere in the crypto sphere in experimental software and solving a huge, huge issue that, in my opinion, Hive has. But with all that being said, we are, if this doesn't start at least kind of an inkling in the greater crypto community that, like, hey, these guys are onto something, because we are. There isn't any other place where I could find on the internet or in the crypto sphere where people are doing this account as collateral and it's incredibly safe and secure by design. Hive has a beautiful, beautiful setup with all of the different permission scopes and the keys and whatnot that allows us to be able to do stuff like this. And while this first version, yeah, it has the centralized trust issue where, yeah, you have to trust Clyde to not lose your account or your money if you've got it invested in there. Yes, you know what, I see that as an issue. I don't want to be in that position, and I won't be, not for very long. The whole idea isn't for me to have all this power and get all these accounts and consume all this money. The point is for me to be able to get it, lock it away so even I can't touch it, have everything automated, and then effectively just go from there. The more trustless we can build these systems, the less central points of failure that we can eliminate and get things more decentralized, the better everything's going to be overall. And I just, I'd like to ask everybody to, well, for one, be critical, but be decent with your feedback. I'm not the most talented developer. I'm not the most talented designer. I've put a lot of this stuff together just kind of, maybe that looks good, maybe it doesn't, I'm not sure. I haven't tested on all sides of the screens, and we probably are going to be finding bugs here. In the first couple weeks, I'm expecting a lot of sleepless late nights and a lot of bug hunting. And it's going to be initially just a handful of us just going through and clicking on things and taking our test dummy accounts and making loans and giving loans to each other and just small and testing out all of the trading and the futures and whatnot, because there's tons of stuff that we need to be testing. And I'll hopefully kind of get a beta testers checklist post here going probably in the next week or so. It's not super, super high up on the board, but it's one of those things where I'd like everybody to kind of, like, who comes onto the site to start testing, can you check these things out? Yeah, and that is another thing too. In opening this site up to the beta testing phase, I'm not opening up like, hey guys, we're open for business. No, that's not what this is. What this is you're coming in as a beta tester, and this is beta testing, and things might be broken. We might have data bugger up. We could have all sorts of bad things happen. I'm not expecting it to happen. I have done as much testing as I can on my end as a single person, as a single developer, to try to find leak holes or buggers ups in routines and all sorts of things. Like, it's been thousands of hours actually, And I noticed, what was it, a couple days ago when I had to renew the Hive.Loans TLD, or like the domain. It's like, wow, this project has been in the works for basically a year now, and it's just getting to the point where I'm comfortable enough. Hey guys, come in, come help me test. And I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be stressful. I just hope everybody's not expecting the whole finished product right now, because that's not what this beta testing is. This is going to be us essentially making sure that these systems that I've designed and tested myself work on a bigger scale. Because as much as I like to say that, oh yeah, no, I'm a great developer in testing and my quality assurance is number one, no, I'm crowdsourcing this. I'm crowdsourcing my testing to you guys, the guys who are investing in this, the guys who are excited about this, the guys who want to loan, the guys who want to borrow, the guys who want to play futures, the guys who want to bankroll the futures, the guys who want to trade their own cryptocurrencies and list their own assets. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in Hive.Loans. And what was, well, effectively an incredibly innovative design and idea to help Hive out as a whole ended up spawning a lot more stuff than I expected it to. Because you get one idea and you start running with it, and then you realize, well, hey, this would be nice if it was decentralized. So all of a sudden, oh, hey, Hive sidechain. And initially, I don't know if it's done in Kruger effect or what, but I was hoping that I could have Hive sidechain to the point where I could host this on it right off the bat, so I didn't have to write it twice. That didn't happen because Hive sidechain's a little bit more complicated than I initially thought, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's tons and tons of work to be done there too. And as I get Hive.Loans going here, I'll be able to take a step back from Hive.Loans once it's running and we're going smooth and whatnot. I'll be able to take a step back from it, give myself a few days breather, and then I'm going to start piling in on the Hive sidechain, because that's going to be another very, very huge thing for this chain. Being a single man development team that's bringing a shit ton, for lack of a better term, of innovation and use case to Hive, I wouldn't say it's a burden. I'm incredibly proud to be able to come up with these ideas, to be able to code them, and to be able to bring them into fruition for our community. However, it's stressful. I am building experimental software on, well, what is essentially an experimental crypto network, and we're all along for the ride. It's going to change a lot of things around here. I'm hoping it's for the better. This could go badly. I highly, highly doubt that's going to be the case, though. I've got a lot of support. I've got a lot of people that are coming and willing to test, and that's going to be the big thing here. We got to catch all of the possible exploits here in the next month or two. I'm not going to be opening up the floodgates on the site and letting everybody run free until we are confident as a community that this is good to go. And I'd like to thank all of the shareholders that have been supporting, everybody who's been supporting the proposals. Big thanks to Block Trades and the boys, like all of the higher ups there that put the initial funding out there. And while that ran into a bit of a rocky end there, it's not a big deal at the end of the day. All I did was adjust accordingly for the timescales of what I got paid out compared to the amount of duration it was, and it ended up being, I think, 7 or 8% less. I'm still going to continually pay to the DHF fund every month. That's one, again, another innovative part about this proposal that was done and eventually has yielded this site, was paying back to the community, paying back to the DHF. And I hope that people see what I've done and take my model and run with it. Because if you've got this essentially collection of funds, you're giving it to people and then they're giving it back, and then it's just going to grow. It's just going to keep growing and growing, and we're going to be able to support more and more developers. And the more developers we have building cool shit on Hive, the better Hive is going to do overall. That's the way it is. It doesn't matter how many normal end users you have if you don't have any services or any innovation or any reason to hold this stuff. And that's why Hive.Loans exists. This is another really, really cool reason why you should own Hive and why you should be investing in Hive and powering your Hive up. And oh, hey, think of it as a savings account. Do you want to take a loan against it? Go for it, because that's what I'm bringing that to the community. I'm unlocking the gates. One of the biggest problems I saw with Hive was, oh man, I gotta power up and it's gonna take me 13 weeks to get all this money back. No, it's not like that anymore. Now it's, oh hey, the market shifted, it's up a fair amount. You know what? I'm gonna cash out half my Hive right now, gonna get a loan, dump it on the market, and then when the price goes back down, you can buy that Hive back up, pay off your loan with it, keep the profits. And I think we're going to see a ton of this going on. Eventually, when the API evolves a little bit more, I'm going to allow for complete secured automation of accounts and lending and loaning and payments and everything like that. You're basically, someone eventually is going to be savvy enough to build a bot to do all of this and be able to combine the Hive.Loans with a trading bot of some type and just be able to absolutely do all sorts of crazy profits off of arbitrage, off of just buying high, selling low, scraping on both sides, and then being able to pull 70% of your account's worth, assuming that the capital's there to be able to borrow. Like, it's a game changer. This completely changes the game. And at the end of the day, this innovation and many, many, many more are on the horizon. By the end of the year, Hive's going to look amazing. We've got so much cool stuff by so many cool developers that's coming. I'm not going to say it's going to be too big to fail. It's going to be too disruptive to fail. We're going to start doing things here on Hive that other chains are like, what? How is that even possible? It's possible because we have a really kind of cool underlying structure on our blockchain, and the account of collateral lending model, that doesn't exist anywhere else, guys. That's a Hive exclusive, and it's going to stay that way because, yes, as much as I'm going to encourage people within our own Hive community to fork Hive.Loans and do their own version of it, that's cool. It's open source. I don't care. Go for it. I'm going to be putting some security in place. Not so much licensing. You're not going to have to pay me to use the software or anything, but you're going to have to kind of have my seal of approval. And what that's supposed to do is keep the guys on Steam and Blurt and all these other forks the hell away from our proprietary software, from our intellectual property. Because as far as I'm concerned, Hive.Loans, this is a Hive project. This is built on Hive, it's for Hive, it's funded by Hive, and we're going to keep it that way. And if the other chains want to try to steal it, going to make it difficult for them. At the very, very least, make it difficult for them. And that's a good thing. In my opinion, I'm not going to say we're even competing with the other chains, because at the end of the day, we're not. We are our own complete orbit doing our own thing at this point. And it's going to become even more and more apparent to the guys that stuck with Steam or went off to Blurt or wherever else that, like, maybe you're not on the right side, because there's not going to be a bunch of innovation like Hive Sidechain and Hive.Loans and whatnot going on Steam or going on a Blurt. It's not, because it's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow it. If you guys want to use my code, if you want to come and set up your own Hive.Loans or whatever the heck it's called, and with a Leo token or any Hive Engine token, and it's not just Hive Engine tokens that it's going to be supported. Like, it's got a market built in, it's got an exchange built in. If you want to come list your Hive Engine tokens and trade them for real Hive, you can do that. You want to get your ERC20 from Ethereum or your HSC20 from the Hive Smart Chain here in a few months, you can do that. You want to have your Deluxe token listed or any of the other side chains that are going on, you can do that. I'm going to facilitate all this. The whole idea behind this is to connect all of the tribes, basically, have one kind of central point where we can muster all of our capitals together, support each other within the community, and by doing so, we're basically increasing everybody's chances of being successful. It's no longer, oh man, my capital's trapped in Hive. It's, oh man, Hive went up, I just sold half of it, I'm waiting for it to dip back down, and then I'm going to cycle it again. And we just keep throwing the money back and forth, we're just going to blow up our market cap. It's going to be huge. And I'm very, very excited about that, and the opportunity that in the near future, people will be automating this, and it's going to be hands-off money making. And that's the best part. The more we can remove limitation-wise from Hive, the better off we're going to be. And we start bringing in these type of functionalities, these lending services, and again, this is first of its kind. This doesn't exist anywhere else. I can't reiterate that enough, because this type of stuff, what we're doing right now, what we're inventing here, this is going to change things in crypto. It's not just like, oh, we're changing things for Hive. Like, we are literally we've invented a new way of lending crypto. And Hive just so happens to be the perfect vehicle for it. And what I plan to do here, probably within the next month or two, in a subsequent update, is I'm going to put pipelines in. So let's just say, oh, you're in the market for crypto loans, and oh, you get your Bitcoin. Well, that's cool. What you can do is you can take your Bitcoin, you throw it through block trades or one of these other swap apps, you throw it to your Hive account, and then you can be borrowing against that the same day, basically, or within 30 days or whatever else. I'm also going to be allowing the non-Hive users to come in, buy an account. The account's already set up, so I'm the recovery account at Hive.Loans, and they can come in, deposit their Litecoin, their Bitcoin, their Monero, whatever the hell it is. We put that, we buy Hive with it, throw it in their account, and then, okay, you can borrow this amount, or you can borrow this amount, or you can lend this amount. It's going to be beautiful. And by building these on-ramps, and the ramps even between our own side chains, it's just going to make us stronger. The more people we can assimilate by offering them cool stuff like this, the better off we're going to be. The whole Hive is a blogging platform thing, no, that shit's going to go the way of the dinosaurs here in the next couple of years. I'm calling it right now. Within the next 2 years, Hive isn't going to be what you're paid out, or Hive back dollars. Like, no, we're going to probably end up offsetting that to the tribes. So everybody can have their tokens or their shitcoins or whatever else, and you can pay your blog users in that. But Hive itself, in my vision, in the next 2 years, is going to become a utility token. Much like how the Ethereum token works, and how it's like the backbone or the gold standard on their network. That's what Hive is going to be for our network. And it's not just going to be Hive engine tokens here in a little bit. It's going to be HSC tokens, which follow the ERC20, the Ethereum guidelines. And all of anything that Ethereum's doing, we're going to be able to do with Hive. And then we've already got our other side chains set up. So you've got, all of a sudden, you've got 2 or 3 different types of tokens that you can make. Some of these tokens are completely atomic swappable to other chains, so that's coming. Hive sidechain, Hive.Loans. When you start mixing those two together, it's going to be nuts. There's going to be literally nothing stopping us from interfacing with any other chain that we can build the atomic or the plasma swap sites for. And like DeFi is going to be coming to Hive in a crazy way by the end of the year. By the end of the year, we will... Okay. For example, Binance is what, $400 some US right now, and that's a centralized shit fucking network run by a fucking criminal. Sorry, but that's just how it is. Think Binance what you want, they're a bunch of fucking crooks. And now, what we're gonna do with their whatever third spot in the coin market cap, we're going to directly attack them by offering a better service, a decentralized service, a service that anybody can run a node. You got 500 Hive, you can run an HSC node. Know how cool that is? You don't have to be like, oh, I'm a witness, I'm voted in, I have to be popular. Nah, fuck that. 500 Hive, there you go. You got a node now. And now, anytime anybody does a transaction, you happen to be the person who picks that up, there you go. You grab the money for that, all those fees. And it's going to be great. However, with that being said, if you're buggering around and trying to mess things up, that 500 Hive that you have, well, that starts getting chipped at. So you're either a good node operator or you're not a node operator for very long, because it'll literally just take your Hive and burn it. And that's another safety mechanism that we don't have on the original chain, which is fine. You've got block trades coming with his modular Hive mind. That's going to change some stuff too. Like they're working hard there. I didn't exactly understand initially what block trades was working on. I just knew that he was working on smart contract capabilities, which is, yeah, cool. I like that stuff. And when it kind of dawned on me, like, oh man, this is where you really like throw plugins on this stuff. I don't run HiveMind personally. I don't have a server with enough memory to do it. But I know lots of people who do run this stuff. And I'm hoping that between modular HiveMind and Hive sidechain and all of the other sidechains that we have, I'll be able to put Hive sidechain down as a sort of webbing in between all these that can communicate and send tokens either by plasma or atomic swap or whatever else. And all of a sudden, we're interconnected. It's no longer a bunch of side chains doing their own thing. It's a bunch of fucking chains built off of one chain. As it's kind of like God, or it's like its main gold standard. And then we just start branching those out. Like, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts. And I can't wait for the development here in the next few months. It's been a stressful development period. It's not even over. I'm just like... part of me has been absolutely like, oh man, this is overwhelming. I'm launching experimental world-class first of its kind software, and I'm a single developer. It's bit of trip. I've never kind of built a role of this magnitude before, but I'm not just stopping here. It's not just like Hive.Loans. Hive.Loans sparked the Hive Spark chain or the Hive side chain, and that is going to be huge. That is going to unlock all sorts of stuff, and I. You're either excited about it or you don't understand what I'm doing, and that's partially on me for not being able to explain it properly. And I just like to say to everybody who's on Hive, like, to hold on to your Hive, because it's going to be worth a lot more money here in the future. If they can do $400 a token on a centralized crap chain with a shady ass exchange, imagine what we can do with something that's properly run, properly decentralized, properly vetted by a bunch of people who actually care, not just fucking over their customers. Like, it's nuts. We're essentially lining ourselves up to be a very, very real contender for a top 5, for a top 10 market cap position. And when you start doing the math, and then you start comparing the amount of tokens, it's like, you look at $50 Hive, you look at $85 US dollar per Hive when you start getting into those market realizations. And when we can do the same thing that Binance Chain can do, or the same thing that Ethereum can do, but cheaper and more decentralized and with better fundamentals, like, it's just a matter of marketing at that point in time. When we have everything in place, it'll just be a matter of us kicking some doors and putting some bad anners up and putting the word out there on Reddit and wherever else we can get the crypto word out, and people will flock to this. People are sick of Binance. They use it because it's the Me Too thing, right? Ethereum is expensive as fuck. I can't afford to use that. Most people can't afford to use that. And that's why you see them migrating to this obviously inferior Binance chain product. And I looked at it, I looked at what they're doing, and I went, why aren't we doing this? Why don't we take Hive as it sits right now, use it as the core currency on a side chain that is basically Ethereum, but better, more capability, faster, better scalability, more decentralization, and then you throw that on the market. And everything after that will fall into place. Hive, as a community, we're a bunch of really, what's the word? Passionate, crazy individuals, or I'm not sure if it's the trauma bonding from the Steam experience and the whole Sun Yat-chen, fuck that guy, but we're still here and we deserve better, and that's why I build these things. It kind of sounds corny to say, but we deserve better than what we've had. We kind of got the shit end of the stick with that Sun Yat-chen incident, and the best revenge, in my opinion, is we leave that dickhead in the dust and we build a crazy community with crazy features and a whole just network of applications and dApps and swaps and whatever else you want to do, because that's what we're gearing up to do, is everything. Absolutely everything. And it doesn't have to be just like, oh, one guy working on this, one guy working on that, one guy, like, we can pool our stuff. I'm not trying to put anybody out of business. I'm not trying to take over like the Hive network. That's not my stick. Don't care to take over. What I do care to do, though, is get everybody on the same page, get everybody interconnected, and then from there we just make a bunch of money. Because, yeah, as much as the community's great and socializing and all that, a majority of people wouldn't be here if there wasn't fucking rewards. And that's just how it is, and that's probably how it always will be. That being said, I don't think the rewards should be paid from the Hive and the HBD. I think we should all go to a side chain and have everybody pay out their coins, and then, like, leave Hive alone. Leave it as a utility token. When we get Hive side chain or the smart chain running, it's like there's going to be burn built in. There's going to be its own DHF funding. It's going to have its own DAO. And it's going to be that the node operators are able to vote on things. And if you want to burn 50% of the fees that month, you guys go right ahead and vote that in. Because I'm not going to be in control of it. I'm just the guy building this stuff. And then once I've built it and we get it going, I relinquish all control over it. It runs itself. There's no reason for me to interfere. I'm not going to give myself any admin ability on this new Ethereum-based network. I thought about it briefly, giving myself the Vitalik God mode, and then I thought against it, because that's a single point of failure. If you had a federal agent go up to old Vitalik there with a nightstick and give him a nice little wink, pretty sure he could be manipulated into doing things on Ethereum that most people would agree with. It's not going to be like that for Hive. I'm building this stuff and then eventually building it in a way that I can hands off, and it's no big deal. I won't be able to do anything to it. Set it up, and once it runs good, You take your hands off the steering wheel and it auto drives, and then let the community take over and do their stuff. It's yeah, we're at the precipice of change basically. And yeah, sorry for the rambles. Go check out the site, and I'll start giving out codes here probably within the next couple hours. I still got a couple more things on the site that I gotta make sure are working, like 100% working, before I let people loose in here. Because as much as I've been able to test it on my own computer in my own local network, my ability to test as one human being and not, well, that and being so close to the project. When you're so close to development of a project, sometimes you miss something, or you're so close to it that you overthink, or you under-engineer, or you over-engineer, or something like that. And that's what this month is for. This month is for us going in. We're going to slowly get titrated into the community. We're slowly going to get into the chats and start posting bugs and everything else like that, and fix things up, fix things up, fix things up. And then when version 1's ready to go, bam, we launch that thing. And I'm expecting like millions of Hive a month volume through the place. Be it through the exchange, be it through lending, like there's going to be a large amount of money passing through the site, a large amount of credentials passing through the site. Security is going to be absolutely paramount, and that's like half the fun of the stuff for me, is like just building crazy encryption systems. Like, oh yeah, hacker, that's cool. You got into my system. Good luck finding any data that you can use. Like, oh cool, you found the balances. That's great. You're not going to be able to withdraw anything because you don't have your keys to do it. But yeah, also one thing I need to do, set up still here sometime tonight, is get the hot and cold wallets working properly. It's going to be a probably like, I would say 90-10 split. So 90% or more, 95% of the site's funds are going to be in a cold wallet that's multi, oh, excuse me, that's, what is the word again? Multi-signature, sorry. The multi-signature addresses is going to be a huge part of the security, because if you have an account that's one key to be able to have full control over it, well, that's one point of failure. That doesn't sound good to me, especially if I'm like trying to run something that's got money coming in and out of it in quite regular intervals. So when you start getting to the multi-key stuff, that's an extra layer of security. And then you've got encryption on the back end, you've got encryption on the front end, you've got encryption on the traffic going through with stuff that needs it. And it's, well, for one, it's a little bit of future proofing, but it's also peace of mind for me, because as much as I love building these websites and doing all this innovative and fun stuff and all this inventing, there's a high degree of stress that comes with holding people's accounts, with holding people's money. And this is stuff you lose sleep over as a developer. Like, unless you're very, very sure that you've tested absolutely everything and it's completely 100% bulletproof, you're going to stay up at night and be like, oh man, I've got however many X thousands of dollars there sitting with my customers' funds. I need to keep that safe. And again, accountable. Back, what was it, a month ago, or a month and a half ago, when the Hive roller exploit went down with the withdrawal. Yeah, accountable for that. If it's physically possible for me to cover any losses, that's kind of my main thing. With this beta testing, you're going to have to sign a disclaimer right kind of before you get into it. And the disclaimer will, in effect, generate a custom JSON that will be put onto the network. And that will be essentially a digital signature. You saying like, hey, I realize that I'm beta testing. You're not responsible for any type of losses, blah, 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 blah. You check that box, I put that on the blockchain, and then that's the proof that, hey, you signed the disclaimer. And that's verifiable proof. And then from there, when the actual site launches, or when things change, or when the terms of service change, again, you'll have to read this, you'll have to sign it, it'll be put on the chain, and then after that, they've done it. And from there, it's just programmatically sorting things. Hey, they've signed, oh, they haven't, oh, we're updating things, everybody needs to read the terms of service again. It's a way of accountability for myself and also for people. You can't get into the site without signing the disclaimer. And just by doing that, for when it covers my ass while we're beta testing, just so some crazy asshole doesn't put like $100,000 on there and like, oh man, we got hacked, oh shit. Like, I can't afford to replace that right now. So we're gonna have disclaimers here in the beta, and probably even afterwards, because again too, there's going to be a certain amount of the profit that gets put away into the rainy day fund for development and for like, oh man, there was an exploit and I need to pay everybody back. To a point. And what it boils down to is that I'm trying to build the best platform with the most security that's doing the craziest things on Hive, and I'm hoping that you guys are going to support it, and I'm hoping that you're going to come help me because I need help testing. I really need help testing, and I'm going to need people supporting this. I'm going to need people advertising. I'm going to need people like herding the cats towards it. And one of the beautiful things about it is with the plan being able to bring in the other cryptos and then fuel your account to take loans against it, like that's something that we can market. That is something that as a community we can market to get people that aren't in Hive into Hive. Like, oh, maybe they're not into blogging. Maybe they don't give a shit about shit posts. I mean, yeah, I don't really either. But all of a sudden, hey, you've got this lending service. And then when you look at other sites, they're asking 200, 250, 150% collateral on top of what you're borrowing. That's dumb to me. With the Hive.Loans site, it's you can borrow up to 70% of what you have. So, I mean, already I'm beating them there. And then you get into the protection of it and the fact that you're still able to use your account. You don't relinquish any features of your account unless you try to like bugger up. That is one thing I'm going to mention right now is when people, there's some security in place. So you think you're a smart guy and oh, you're going to trick the power down and you're going to steal the money away right away. I would advise against that because the second the system picks that up that you're doing that type of thing, you're locked out of your account. You relinquish all rights to your account when you start trying to cheat the system. When you start trying to bugger with the payments and all the automated stuff that's in the background, the second, like, the site's watching. The site is watching and the site sees everything. It literally catalogs everything that's going on in the chain at all points of time. I'm going to have some really, really cool APIs and stuff to show you here in the next month or two, where you'll be able to watch the chain in real time, count all of the transactions, and you'll be able to watch it all stream down. It's glorious. It's like the Matrix, basically. But yeah, don't try to bugger with the site. Don't try to be smart. I mean, do initially in this beta testing. I would like to know if it's sufficient. So I would like some guys to go and try to cheese the system and try to skip out on their payments and subvert them to other places. But be warned that in doing so, when the system does catch you, and it will catch you, you're gonna get locked out. Your keys are no longer good. You boom, done, and you don't get that account back until it's paid off plus the fine. And the fine's not cheap. Like there's a reason we're taking the 70% high level of the account because that extra 30% there that you have, if you go and you try to bugger up that, I'm not taking all 30% of it, but it's probably going to be like 10% of the entire amount of whatever the loan was, and that's not cheap. So just, I mean, initially here when we're testing, I'm obviously not going to be charging people because we're testing. But when it comes down to it, when we go into production, if you try to cheese the system, you're going to get fined and you're going to lose access to your account until it's all paid off. And I don't want to lock people out. I don't want to be the loan shark asshole who's locking people out who are trying to be shifty and screw their lenders and me out of good business. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. I spent, well, I myself and Lapping Vino. And some guy went to 3 actually to one extent. We were kind of the first 3 that were like, hey, is this possible? And then after bouncing ideas off of each other for a little bit, we were like, holy shit, this is possible. And then it moved forward from there. But yeah, we're headed in some very interesting times for Hive. And I for one am exhausted, but also very, very excited that we're to this point. And within the next day, 2 days, 3 days, before the end of the weekend, we're gonna have people with hands-on experience with the site. We're gonna start getting our first reviews and the quips and the feedback and all that stuff, and that's valuable to me. It's like you find something that's broken, you point it out. Hey, Cly, you suck. You're a shitty developer. Look at this. That's fine. You know what? You're allowed to call out the bad development because you know what? I'm never gonna be like, oh, I'm the best developer on Hive because I'm not. I'm one of the more innovative inventors on Hive or the developers on Hive, but that's because I'm thinking way the fuck outside the box compared to most of these guys. I'm not going to say they're taking small conservative steps, but they kind of are. Like the Hive.Loan and the account as collateral lending model, like we should have had that shit 5 years ago or 3 years ago or something. I'm kind of glad we don't or didn't. And I'm kind of glad I'm able to bring it for Hive because this community deserves it way the fuck more than Steam does. But like, oh yeah, be innovative, guys. Be bold. If you're building here on Hive, I thank you for that because it's an interesting community. it's an interesting, quirky blockchain to build off of. Like, this was kind of the blockchain I cut my teeth on, and then I went to Bitcoin and Litecoins and all the other like classical and the Ethereums. Like, there's, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 actual flavors of crypto, and Hive is definitely a good entry point because, for one, there's a lot of people here that have development libraries built, which is a huge help, like the Hive.js and the keychain and all that stuff. Like, the guys that are building this stuff, like, fucking kudos to you. There's no way in hell I would have been building on Hive to the capacity that I am today without these guys laying down the groundwork and building all these libraries and all these cool tools to be able to interact with the blockchain so freaking easily. And it comes down to even like the normal user. Like, you know what the difference between a coder and a normal user is? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Like, I'm not any smarter than any of you guys. I'm maybe a bit more patient, and a lot of trial and error and a lot of research. But once you get past the kind of initial shock, like, coding is super simple. All coding is breaking down things into functions, into the most basic functions of like else, if, and, or, while, for. And then once you get those operators going, it's literally just like the most simple logic. So you take an incredibly complex idea or an incredibly complex set of functions and you break them down into the smallest ones, and then you put it out in a nice little package, and then everybody's having fun making money on it. And that's kind of the goal here. I want everybody to have fun. I want everybody to have access to funds that they need. I want people to be making good money borrowing. I want people to be making good money lending. I want people to be making money on the markets on both sides. And overall, I just want more money to be changing hands. The more volume we have, the more draw we have, the more use cases we have, the more reason for Hive to exist we have, the better it's going to do. And that's what I'm here for, guys. But anyway, this is Cly, Hive.Loans owner, Hive roller owner, Hive sidechain builder, deviant dick, MS Paint dick artist. And yeah, this has been my rant about the beta, and I'll hopefully see you guys on the site here in a couple hours or so. Oh yeah, one more thing. Let's give away one beta access key. So the person who tells the funniest joke in the comment section below, determined by the amount of votes on it from unique accounts, will get an access pass, so you don't have to be a shareholder. So get your jokes down in the comments below. It can be about anything. It can be as lowbrow or as highbrow as you want. I'm impossible to offend, and if you offend people, it's probably funnier. So yeah, get some jokes going down in the comments below, guys, and I'll see you on the site here. And yeah, I'll see you on Hive.Loans. Take it easy.